Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another update video on challenges. Today we're going to be talking about TBR Knockout. And for TBR Knockout is this reading challenge that Melanie from Completely Melanie has been hosting for a few years now. And this year is slightly different because you used to have to pick 2 books for 2 prompts. Now there are 2 prompts and you only have to pick one of them. You don't have to do both of them. And I really thought that I was going to force myself to do both of them, but you know what? It's been a heck of a year. It's been a very interesting year for me. Not just in the reading realm, in the booktube realm, but in my personal life, there's a lot of things that you don't know about. And you know what? You're never gonna know, because this is not a therapy session. But let's get into it. So for TBR Knockout, January was dark word or dark theme. And for that, I read Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered. Murdered is a dark word because you're literally taking someone's life if you murder them. This was written by Karen Killigreff and Georgia Hardstark, which they are podcasters. They are true crime podcasters. This is very self-helpy, but also true crime woven in, and it was very entertaining. I enjoyed it. I don't rate nonfiction, so I didn't give this one a rating, but I did enjoy that book. Okay, February is short. Sorry. A short story collection or a short story. For that, I read this novella, and then I woke up. And then I woke up by Malcolm Devlin. This was zombies in a different apocalyptic future that you've never thought about or dreamt about. And there's this plague that are zombies that are creepy, and it's very short, but it was enjoyable. I gave it 3 stars. It was good. Then March is Women's History Month. You can read something based on women's history, or read a book with a strong female protagonist. For that, I read The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Of course, Katniss, strong female protagonist. Everyone knows what The Hunger Games is at this point, and if you don't, then please go read it. But my husband got me this beautiful, this beautiful illustrated edition, so of course I had to read it. Then April is Earth Day, so nature on the cover or a dystopian. I did not pick one. Okay, I'm just gonna go with Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. That's a dystopian. It's the next in the Hunger Games series. I reread the entire series, so I'm gonna count that. Then May is Flowers. Flowers on the cover or a yellow cover. For that, I read The Godparent Trap by Rachel Van Dyken. One of my favorite books of the entire year. You follow Rip and Kobe, who really strongly dislike each other. But her best friend and his sister died in a car crash. And his sister left his children, or his nieces and his nephew, his niece and his nephew, to him, who is the uncle, and Uncle Rip and Aunt Kobe. Only they're not like really, she's not really their aunt, they're just like best friends, so they're like aunt. But like, I have people like that in my life that are my kids' aunt. I'm going on a tangent, but they hate each other to start with, and they're like, I never wanted to be a parent, but now I'm a parent because I'm like an instant family because my sister died. And not only that, but they're also grieving the death of their best friend and their sister. So it was remarkable. Then in June was Pride Month. I was supposed to read A Dash of Salt and Pepper by Kazuko Jackson. I did not read anything for Pride Month. Shame on me. So this is actually on my TBR going forward. This is a romance between Xavier and Logan. So Logan owns his own restaurant. He's like the head chef. He owns it, but he ends up hiring Xavier, who is very much down on his luck, as a prep cook. And they, things get spicy in the kitchen, and maybe not so much in the kitchen, and it's supposed to be like a really cute male romance, and I'm actually very excited for it. I don't know why I didn't read it to begin with, but there's also like onions and beets and like there's food on the cover. I love a good foodish romance. So then in July, it was Summertime Blues, either a blue cover or a book that made you cry. For Summertime Blues, I picked a book that's blue that also made me sob. So, hey, I matches my shirt. Interesting. Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. You follow Cora, and Cora is super drunk. She's getting drunk before her sister's wedding. Her sister's getting married to this man named Dean, who's been basically a part of the family for the past 15 years. They're finally getting married. And Cora shuts down a bar. She quite literally gets kicked out because they're shutting it down. And nobody answered the phone when she called until Dean. She calls him even though she despises him. And she's like, please come pick me up. So, she's very drunk. And he comes to pick her up. And this man that was standing out there bothering Cora was like, hey, dude, is this your girl? And he's like, hell no. Absolutely not. That's disgusting. Ew. So this man kidnaps them and brutalizes them in a basement and makes them do some very gnarly things. And yes, I did sob. Oh my god. Amazing book, dark book. Definitely check the trigger warnings. Okay, then August was back to school. So a book on the cover or a non-fiction believe it or not, but I don't have any books that have a book on the cover anymore. So I'm going to be reading Compassion in the Court by Frank Caprio, Life-Changing Stories from America's Nicest Judge. I was sent this and I was supposed to read it, and it's still August, so technically I could still read it in August, but I feel like I'm already 2 months behind on TBR Knock Out. But that's what I'm going to be reading. Then there's September's Harvest, a fruit or vegetable on the cover, or land on the cover. There is land on the cover. I don't think it's like the country land that they were thinking, but that's land. You know, it's like city land, but it counts. This is Be the Girl by K.A. Tucker. I think this is a hockey romance. I think it might also be young adult. It scares me because I think it's young adult. Okay, then October is Halloween. A paranormal or a word like black on the cover. I'm going to use both a paranormal book and a book with the word black on the cover. So, The Black Phone, Stories by Joe Hill. This has been on so many TBRs in the past 2 years, and I haven't read it. I'm starting to think that if I don't actually read it, that I just need to say goodbye. Because logically this sounds amazing, but I have never taken the time to actually read it. So, you follow Finney, who gets kidnapped and thrown in a basement. The only thing that's in the basement is this old black phone that doesn't even work until it's nighttime and he gets calls from the psychopaths, previous victims that are trying to save Finney from the same fate they had. Then November is self-care. I think it's just like a fun read. Easy or relaxing or a feel-good book. So for a feel-good book, I am probably going to read Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Now, don't set me in stone. Don't, lock me into all of these options. These are the options that I hope to read, but if something changes and I still read the challenge prompt, but I don't read that book, then please don't come for me. That's rude. Okay? But Icebreaker, it's a hockey player and a ballet dancer and an ice skater, and it's their romance. I also heard it's pretty smutty, so I think it takes place in a college, so there's that. And then last book, Endings is December, last book in the series, or Something Ends. For that one, I'm going to read Save Me by Kristen Cusk Lewis. I'm going to be honest with you, if any of them change, it's most likely going to be this one. Because, yes, I like literary fiction, but I also really have to be in the mood for it. And I haven't really been in the mood to read this particular book in the couple of years that I've owned it. So we will see. But this follows Daphne, who has been, she's had this really good life until the day that her husband comes home and says that he found another woman and her marriage ends. And then I think the rest of this novel is her trying to move on with her life. So these are hopefully going to be the books I read for the rest of this series, or for the rest of TBR Knockout. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you're new around here. I will see you in the next video. Bye.